So as you can probably tell from the title, this video took some time to make. Mostly because I had no idea when our lockdown here was going to end. I've lost count, but I think out here in Toronto, we've been through maybe 4 to 5 lockdowns. You know, every time our COVID numbers would drop down a little bit, we'd end our lockdown. And then our numbers went back up and we went back into lockdown. Then our numbers went back down and we came back out. And the numbers went back up and we went back in. And it was an endless back and forth and back and forth. Hey, are we good or are we going back in a couple hours? So during lockdown, I tried to find a lot of different things to do. You know, I played Animal Crossing, I took care of plants, I started growing vegetables, I drew a lot, I took care of pets. Okay, I know a lot of the things I listed sounded like things I just did in Animal Crossing, but I assure you, everything after I said I played Animal Crossing was actually stuff I did in real life. But besides all that, I continued to try to find new things for me to do during lockdown, you know, challenge myself to do different things. So early on in the lockdown, I thought to myself, what's something long and drawn out that I could do? And that answer was JRPGs. So I thought to myself, the lockdown can't be that long, let's see how many JRPGs I can play during the lockdown. So I just thought I'd just talk about some of the JRPGs that I played and just rank them for you for how much enjoyment that I actually got out of it. So to start off the challenge, we got Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I actually bought this game as a response to Pokemon Sword and Shield because it was a bit disappointing. Also because I just like the art on the cover. That's how I pick my games, if I like the art. You play this pink-haired anime boy, and in this universe, everybody's always going into this VR chat in the digital world. And the way you enter this VR chat is kind of like Sword Art Online, where you jack in like you're in the Matrix, and your entire physical body enters the VR chat. But it turns out, in this Sword Art Online VR chat world, there are hackers and viruses. So you struggle to log out one day, and next thing you know, your body is half digital and half physical, and now you have these digital powers. You're saved by this big booba detective lady who works for cyber crimes, and now for the rest of the game, you use your half digital powers to help her solve cyber crimes. So for the most part, I did enjoy the Pokemon part of the game. I grew up with Pokemon, so of course I'm down for any other RPG where you raise monsters. Overall though, the gameplay is your typical JRPG. There's a lot of dialogue and visual novel-like stuff in it. Also, the difficulty of the game wasn't that hard. There were 2 difficulty modes, normal and hard, and I ended up deciding to play normal mode because in hard difficulty mode, all that was different was that every enemy just had a bigger health bar. They did everything they would in a normal mode, except they were just bullet sponges. The game also had a DLC called Hacker's Memory, and the DLC did feel a lot like a whole other game. There was also a relationship system, which we will find out later is apparently a huge factor in making a JRPG good. Also, I love how the evolution system can go from a cute little puppy to a little cat to a big booba angel girl to this big furry dragon, or Poo Poo can become monkey. Also, there's a Digimon who's a nun with a gun. One great thing about the game is you can give Agumon a little hat. So for Digimon Cyber Sleuth, I give it a C. Rating Historia Perfect Chronology. You play a blonde anime boy named Stock who has amnesia and knows nothing about his past. You're recruited by a soldier guy who's clearly the bad guy of this game, and while on a mission, he gets a book that allows him to travel back and forth through time. And honestly, the story wasn't that bad with this one, besides your typical JRPG stuff. In this one, you can actually stack up all your character turn orders in order to release this giant massive wombo combo on your enemies, which is kind of satisfying.
Dance with me! Yeah, kick this! Yeah, kick this! I call upon the stars!
Time to finish this!
Power of the Gootrolls!
My only criticism is there's this big timeline tree where you had to jump back and forth, and in order to get the good ending, you had to finish everything in the timeline along with every side quest, except maybe I'm stupid, but sometimes I don't know where to jump back in time to solve a certain quest, so in the end I just looked up a guide. Also, there's this white witch lady who always talks to you like you're 10 years old. Overall, I give Radiant Historia a B. Shin Megami Tensei IV Apocalypse. It's a post-apocalyptic Tokyo, demons have taken over most of the land, and you play an anime boy named Nanashi, demon hunter cadet who is killed by a boss who later turns out not to be a boss and just a regular enemy, and he strikes a deal with another demon to be resurrected and he obtains demon powers. So this game is basically what happens when you take a metal cover album and you turn it into a game. Usually I'm not a big fan of this edgy, dark aesthetic, but honestly, I had fun with this game. No random encounters, you can just dodge your enemies. And for your team, you could recruit demons to fight for you, sort of like Pokemon. Except instead of evolving, you could fuse 2 weaker demons to become a stronger demon. All in all, I give SMT IV an A. So next up we got Devil Survivor. Anime boy, your smart friend and a whiny girl get stuck in Tokyo when it suddenly goes into quarantine due to a demon outbreak. You and your friends are gifted DS's, but in this universe it's more like functions like a cell phone. But also it's modded, so you can use it to communicate with other people, you can use it to summon demons, and it can also predict the future of who's gonna die. You and your friends over the next week use these DS's to try to survive. This game is a bit different from the last couple JRPGs because it's a tactical RPG. My strategy for most of the game is just to get a demon that gives me range, put all my stat points in magic, and then just kill everything before it comes close to me. There's also a relationship system in this one where when you're not in battle, part of the game is you get to choose to spend time with certain characters and raise your relationship with them. As you become better friends with them, with the power of friendship, you can save them from dying and you can recruit them to your team. It's kind of funny because I'm playing a game where you're in lockdown while I'm in lockdown. And ironically, a lot of the ways that these random NPCs act in the game kind of reflect people in real life. You know, the government tells everybody to stay calm, and as expected, everybody starts to panic. People start creating their own conspiracy theories, and everyone starts trying to believe these absurd conspiracy theories. Like, for example, you got this random cosplay girl dressed up as a magical girl that uses her DS to save people. Hey, that girl that just saved us used demons! She must be the one behind all this! If we kill her, it'll solve all our problems! What? No! Hey, if we all charge at the barricade at once, we'll make it past. They can't shoot all of us. What? No. How did this game predict Area 51?
Save? Do you have any idea how many people died in this lockdown?
All in all, I give Devil Survivor an A. So next up we got the sequel, Devil Survivor 2. You play a sheep-headed anime boy who downloads an app called Nikaya that can predict when you or your friends are gonna die. Suddenly, random sentient shapes come out of the sky and start attacking Japan. This time you don't have DS's, and instead you just have your phone and the app that you can use to summon demons. And also the phone like flips out like this. So the sequel to Devil Survivor has similar gameplay to the first one, except this time the relationship system is way better. You can actually see the progress bar, and there's just a massive cast of characters for you to hang out with and a storyline behind all of them. And as a bonus, like the better your relationship is with certain characters, the better buffs and stat boosts you get during battle. And also the characters in this one are arguably way better and less annoying compared to the whiny one from the first one. For Devil Survivor 2, I give it an S. Next up we got No Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. You play a boy named Oliver who travels to a magical world in an attempt to try to save his mom, and then along the way he becomes a wizard. You like Ghibli movies, you ever wanted to use Totoro like a Pikachu? Well, in this game it's basically Ghibli Pokemon. And it also has anime cutscenes and art direction from that same studio. Honestly, the whole game just feels like you're watching a Ghibli movie, so yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I give No Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch an S. Next up we got Persona 5. You play another sheep-haired anime boy who gets expelled from his old school because you get framed and arrested by a stinky rich boomer. You meet Gru from Despicable Me and you're given the ability to enter people's minds, along with the ability to summon demons, or in this case, they're called personas. So together with a colorful cast of characters, and one that they didn't really spend that much time on, you enter these stinky boomers' minds in order to try to change their hearts to become better people. So this is the first ever Persona game for me, and honestly, this is the one JRPG that I enjoyed the most, and probably the longest. Honestly, the characters are great. There's another relationship system where you can spend time with them, and as you spend more time with them, yet again, you get buffs and stat boosts and whatnot. And the music was so catchy, so memorable with this one. So yeah, I give Persona 5 an S. Next up we got Stella Glow. It's a world where music doesn't exist, or there's no music, and there's only 5 witches in the whole world that can sing and use music, magic, and create music, I guess. You play as you guessed it, an anime boy with amnesia named Alto, get it, because the game's about music and whatnot, who tries to stop the destruction of the world. This game is another tactical RPG with a relationship system where the more time you spend with a character outside battle, the more abilities and bonuses you unlock. Really, this game is all about putting all the powerful witches into your team and neglecting all the regular human characters. I think the only regular human characters I used were like the ninja with box on her head and the thief guy. Would you rather just use this big chunky tank guy that can move like 3 squares, or the witch that can fly and travel across the map and has the ultimate ability where every enemy on the map falls asleep for 3 turns so you can gang up and slaughter them in their sleep? Or would you rather use like the stinky blonde knight guy, or the water witch that has an ultimate ability which can fully heal your team 3 turns in a row? You tell me. I had fun with this one too, and music was catchy, but you know, it doesn't compare to Persona 5, but you know, it's still good. I give Stella Glow an A. Next up, we got Indivisible. You play Ajna, whose village gets attacked by edgy evil guys. She unlocks this mysterious power, and as a result, she goes on adventures to try to figure out the mystery of her powers and also avenge the people of her village. You know, I tried to get into this game. I originally got it because I thought the art was really cool, the animations looked really cool, and as you know, I pick my games based off of the art. So this game is a bit different. It's more of like a platformer RPG. You know, the platforming felt really clunky and janky, and sadly, the fighting part of the RPG kind of got dull after a while. They really simplified the fighting in this RPG, so instead of having like a long list of possible attacks and magic like compared to all the other JRPGs, they just have up attack, down attack, left attack, right attack, regular attack. That's it. And after like your next 20 or so battles, it gets a bit dull. So I give Indivisible a D. So next up we got Xenoblade Chronicles. So I played the 3DS version, so I don't know how it compares to the Wii version, but honestly, I didn't really enjoy it that much. Graphically, I wasn't too big of a fan of it, and I'm not too big of a fan of big open world JRPGs because you just waste so much time just walking around and you realize, wait a minute, I just spent like the past 15 minutes walking around and nothing's happened yet. If I want to walk around for 15 minutes, I could just go outside and do that. Keep in mind, I did play the 3DS version before I even knew there was like a Switch remake. I think they announced the Switch remake in the middle of the pandemic. So I don't know, maybe one day I'll come back to it and maybe my experience will be better because it graphically looks way better in the remake. Or maybe I'll play the sequels, I don't know, but for now I give Xenoblade a C. Persona Q2. So after playing Persona 5, I wanted more Persona because honestly I had such a good time with it. So I found out that there was Persona Q2 on the 3DS. Turns out this game is pretty much non-canon and isn't too related to the Persona universe. This is more of like a spin-off type of thing. This game is basically just a dungeon crawler where you form a team with all the characters from the past couple Persona games. I only know the characters from the 5th one, so I wasn't really sure who all the other characters were, but I guess that just means I should probably play the older games. I had fun for what it was, but I'm probably not going to play it again, but I give Persona Q2 a C. Persona 5 Strikers. This game is basically just Persona 5.5. It takes place right after the events of Persona 5. You and your friends are on a summer road trip, and then suddenly along the way, you go back again into jumping into evil people's minds, trying to change their hearts. The difference here is that it's no longer a turn-based game, and it's more of like a hack and slash where you run around, then you beat up enemies. My main criticism here is that the story is just very linear. It kind of just seems like you're going in one direction doing things. Your choices don't really matter, and your dialogue choices don't really mean much. There's not really a relationship system here compared to the original Persona 5, so all you really do is just talk to characters and that's it. There's no stat boost, there's no goal that you're working towards, so it's kind of disappointing, but honestly it was okay for what it was. Persona 5 Strikers is a B. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red. This is a Game Boy game. You're a human who's sent into a Pokemon world and is placed into a Pokemon body. For the weebs out there, I just learned this term recently, but it's pretty much a Pokemon isekai. This was a game that's really nostalgic to me because I played it as a kid, and it was probably the first ever Pokemon game my parents ever got me on a Game Boy. And honestly, to this day, I'm thankful that my parents bought me such a great game because to this day, I don't think there's a lot of Mystery Dungeon games that hold up to what the original was. I give Pokemon Mystery Dungeon an A. Dragon Quest Monster Joker. Have you ever played a Dragon Quest game and you just looked at the cute little slime and was like, I wish I could catch that like a Pokemon? Well, let me introduce to you Dragon Quest Pokemon. Dragon Quest Monster Joker. Originally, as a kid, I got this game because the cover just reminded me of Dragon Ball. Yep, as a kid, I picked my games based off the art still. I give Dragon Quest Monster Joker a B. Anyways, brief intermission. Here is a lineup of all the protagonists from every JRPG that I've played. Yep, starting to look like a Smash Bros roster, isn't it? That's probably all the JRPGs that I managed to play during a lockdown. Some of them I enjoyed, some of them I didn't really. And hopefully the back and forth is now over with the lockdown and I wouldn't have to keep doing this challenge. But it did help keep me sane during the pandemic. At times it got a bit too much, like I'd be sitting there fighting the same enemy over and over again, trying to grind up levels or get a certain item. I'd literally be falling asleep in the middle of just walking around in the game. It is fun and rewarding to be super overpowered and just go ooga booga and smush a bunch of enemies in one shot and have bosses literally scared of you because of how strong you are. After playing all these RPGs, there are some remaster remakes or sequels I'd like to see in the future on newer consoles. Like, I'd love to see a new Dragon Quest Monsters Joker, because you know me, I can't get enough of like more Pokemon-like games. A new Mystery Dungeon would be nice. Another sequel to Devil Survivor would be cool, like Devil Survivor 3. And lastly, this isn't really a sequel or a remake or a remaster, but it would be kind of cool to see like a Kirby RPG in like a Paper Mario type of style. And like Kirby games aren't like strangers to like trying new things, because we got like Canvas Curse, we got Kirby Mario Kart, now we got like a 3D Kirby in Forgotten Land. So like it would be kind of cool for like Kirby to, you know, dip their Kirby feet in like a Kirby RPG. Get on that, Nintendo. Now, did I learn anything from playing all these JRPGs? Well, after playing so many JRPGs, they start to blend together. It feels almost like you're playing one game. Now, during the long process of making this video, there's something called DALL-E, which is an AI that can generate images of whatever you type into it. Now, with my extensive knowledge of JRPGs, I think if we were to make an AI that would generate JRPGs, I have the formula. Number 1, gotta have anime. Number 2, throw in a bunch of visual novel nonsense. 3, you gotta have the RPG base, like battling items, skill trees and whatnot. 4, you gotta make it super grindy. 5, add in some sort of relationship system. And 6, throw a story in there. And boom. You can't tell me you wouldn't play these games. Anyways, this video took a really long time to make, so I really appreciate you clicking this video. Please hit subscribe if you like the stuff that I make. Don't forget to leave a like and share this video with a weeb. And I'm gonna go play something that's not an RPG. Bye!